And today is actually World Suicide Prevention Day. It's every year on September 10th. And it really is a supporting worldwide commitment to suicide prevention. I know it's something that is near to my heart in that myself and my family have personally been affected by suicide. And I know many of us have, because today in Canada, 12 people will end their lives by suicide, unfortunately. Suicide is also the second leading cause of death among youth and young adults. That's ages 15 to 34. So to be able to share our stories and raise awareness and take steps in our communities and here on today's show, this is how we can really honor World Suicide Prevention Day. But to start, I'm excited to welcome our special guests with us because we're going to talk about this topic of mental health and suicide prevention. And I'm honored to have a friend of mine here with us today, Alicia Boothe. She's a supervisor of the Youth Success Team at Children's Aid Society, where she and her team are making a real difference, and they're working to support youth and families in vulnerable situations and raising awareness, helping to prevent long-term mental health issues. So it's an important conversation, and I'm excited to have her here with us today. Welcome to the show, Alicia.
Thank you, Emily. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, what a great role, supervisor of the Youth Success Team. So can you just share maybe with some of our viewers about your role with the Children's Aid Society, and how does your team support youth and families in vulnerable situations?
Absolutely. So I work with, as you mentioned, Children's Aid Society, and really the objective of the organization is to, specifically in Peel, is to ensure the safety and the well-being of the community's most vulnerable, right? Children and youth. And the way that we do that is providing culturally appropriate services so that we can build healthier families and create safe environments for youth. Specifically, the work that I do is with youth that are between the ages of 16 all the way up to 23. I do work in partnership with a sister team that also works with youth between the ages of 12 up to the age of 18. And so some of the things that we are seeing when we're working with this vulnerable population, as you can imagine, would be for that age and stage of life, parent-teen conflict is probably one of the most primary ones, but we're also seeing issues of diagnoses. So various diagnoses with these young people, whether it be anxiety or depression or mood disorders. And so oftentimes when we're working with them from the capacity of their families or what their individual goals are for themselves as they transition towards adulthood. But the issue of mental health is a really prevalent issue amongst the youth. I was doing some research, and some of the research says that 1 in 8 youth in our current society could actually be clinically defined as having some sort of mental health disorder. And so that, whether it's diagnosed or not, those numbers are staggering. And that's something that our society should be aware of because help is needed and support is needed.
Yeah, I love how you and your team really work with the individual, but that means working with the family as well when it's possible, and the parenting, and how really it's a holistic approach. So you talked about the prevalence of mental health among young people. What are some of the most common mental health issues that you're encountering?
So as I mentioned, really anxiety is probably on the top of the diagnosis that we're seeing. And really that stems down when you drill down when we're talking about that, because I think that's a word, it's kind of a buzzword in our society today. Anxiety really just has to do with fear of the unknown, fear of the future, fear of social interactions, anything from the continuum of having everyday everyday conversations all the way through to presentations, being in front of people. And so anxiety is what we see a lot of. And so really helping to instill hope with the young people that we work in about the ability to attain success in their future, helping them with creating a plan has been really important in combating this.
Wow, that's important to note because it's really like everyday interactions that can build up. Often we see mental health as this like big diagnosis or something, but you're saying people are struggling in everyday moments that are difficult, maybe even to deal with. So, in your
Absolutely.
experience, what have been some of the most significant barriers preventing people from accessing mental health support?
So as prevalent as mental health challenges and concerns have been in society, and that's honestly through the forefront, days like this talking about where people struggle in their emotions and in their thoughts. As prevalent as the conversation is, there is still an element of shame and fear that gets layered on top of that. And so a lot of people are, although they may hear it, especially with the youth that I've worked with, although they may hear conversations about mental health, there is still that underlying shame of what then happens if I disclose that I'm struggling, that I am dealing with an issue that I need support with. And so this is where having a supportive approach, working with young people is so important, letting them know the prevalence of the issue that is out there, but two, the services and the people that are available to support them. And sometimes the other issue is just not knowing that services are available, not knowing that resources are available to be able to help. And there are resources prevalent all across the nation, particularly in regions. There are mandates to be able to help young people that are struggling in their mental health.
Well, and grateful for teams like yours who are doing that work as well to raise awareness, but also to provide that support for youth and their families and young people. So, if we have viewers who are watching who are maybe know someone in their life who they think are struggling with mental health issues, what would you say to encourage them or to offer some support of maybe some steps that they can take?
For sure. Honestly, one of the things is really just to create space. And this is something that I talk to my team about. This is something that I've put into practice for the over 18 years that I've been doing this work, is how do we create space to have conversations, to be able to ask critical questions and to listen. When you do that, you develop trust, you create trust in an atmosphere where people can respond, where youth can open up and share their thoughts and feelings. We've talked about everything from creating like a scale. So asking the questions, between 0 to 10, how are you feeling today? With younger children, it might be using like emojis or something like that, or just kind of yes or no questions to be able to get the conversation going.
I love that. It's just being with the people and meeting them where they're at too. I love that. Well, thank you, Alicia, so much for sharing today, sharing your insight and helping people to know that they're not alone and that there are people out there who care and are for them. So thank you so much.
You are very welcome. Thank you for letting me join you today.